At what point do you find yourself being drawn into this gender debate?
I think one of the things I noticed was that trans women are women was being said, and I realized that trans women didn't mean transsexuals anymore. So they were saying men are women. People sometimes say to me, why this subject of all subjects? Mm-hmm. And I just cannot even understand why they would ask a question. Because my answer is always the same. Don't you have any women in your life? Mm. Don't you care about them? Like, if your mum wants a female carer, don't you think she should have one? You know?
At what point did you notice people within your industry starting to...
Just kept getting jobs and they kept getting taken away, you know? I was asked to write something to accompany Peter Shaffer's amazing farce, black comedy, that was immediately taken away by the Peter Shaffer estate. Then there was a job teaching comedy in Australia. Mm-hmm. That was going to be a big thing. That was taken away. A job where I was supposed to work with Steve Martin was immediately taken away, almost as soon as I sent the email saying I accept. So eventually I kind of realized, all right, well, this is my life now. So I kind of started taking the journalism aspect more seriously, and now my income only comes from my blog, which is in which I kind of cover all this stuff. You know, I still cannot quite believe though that it's got this far. It's like not a single person stood up for me, not Arthur, you know, not Chris Morris, you know, Armando Iannucci, who's Scottish, who should be on top of all this stuff, considering some of the horrific things that have happened in Scotland to do with this. None of them. They all just kind of, they're dead silent on it. Mm-hmm. And what it allowed was for me to be kind of beaten up in the dark for about 6 years while I wrote this fucking book. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I mean, like, I should not have had to write a book to show people what had happened to me.
If you go on your Wikipedia page right now, it'll say Graham Linehan is anti-trans or is an anti-trans campaigner. What do you do with that particular accusation? How do you respond to it?
First of all, the fact that my position is shared by various trans-identified people, like Debbie Hayton, Karina Cohn, Aaron Tremble, I think his name is, bunch of, you know, Book Angel, you know, GC views are not only held by non-trans people. There's lots of GC trans people. I saw a newspaper article that described me as trans skeptic. And that is exactly how I would describe myself. Like, I believe, like, basically I think that trans now means a belief that there's more than two sexes, that some people are born into the wrong body, that these things are literally true, you know, and that if you transition, you literally become the opposite sex. None of this is true. This is all bollocks. And the result of not being trans skeptic, the result of not fighting this stuff, is that there's a whole generation of gay and gender non-conforming kids who have been sterilized and mutilated by this movement, and who will spend the rest of their lives in hospitals, whose lives will be shortened because of the effects of cross-sex hormones. And yeah, I can't get anyone to care, you know?